Danny, Southend tomorrow then. What type of game are you expecting?
A really tough game, as I say to you most weeks, because it's a real tough league with a real good set of teams bringing different strengths every week. Tomorrow we're playing a team with the best defensive record in the league, a team that if they had the 10 points that they had deducted earlier in the season, they'd be in the playoff places. But a team that we're a lot of points ahead, scored a lot more goals than, so we've got to go into it with full confidence that we'll win the game. But we know that only happens if we do our things right, keep our principles and react well to bad situations. And I thought that was pleasing about the other night against Woking second half, where the wind picked up a notch and the rain started and Woking up their game, and we were a bit off it at times, and yet we still got the 3 points. So another big tick in terms of the result, and a different type of performance. But we know against Southend, I think the conditions will be better. I think they're going to bring probably a lot more supporters, so it might give their players a bit more of a lift than maybe the Woking lads got coming out the other night. And a team with massive aspirations of still getting in the playoffs. So real big fixture. I know we've sold a lot of tickets already, so bring it on.
Southend are one of only 3 teams to have beaten you in the league. Does that provide some extra added motivation to try and get one over them?
No, I think our motivation, Liam, is to try to not lose any more games. And that's a real high demand from us. And like the manager always says, we go out to win games. So even at Southend, we went out to win it, but didn't play very well. Didn't play very well at Altrincham, and didn't take our chances away at Solihull, although we played quite well. So the 3 games we've lost, we've got no complaints for. So we want to keep it at 3. That'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? But it'll be tough going from now to the end of the season not to lose a game. But we certainly don't want to start that fact again against Southend. But if we maintain our standards, our effort, our willingness to win, and that's what's great the other night. The boys had a real willingness just to get the result. If we can improve our performance levels a little bit from the other night, we should be okay. But we're under no illusion this is going to be a real tough game.
Is that what it's about at this stage of the season? Just finding a way to win, no matter what.
I think that's really the sort of thinking from the start of the season. We've got a way we want to play. We've got tactics and styles that we want to put across onto the pitch on match days. It doesn't always go to plan. So we're playing against 11 men every week, set up with a very good coach or manager, whoever it is in this league, that are trying to counteract what we've got and want to be the ones to come to the leaders and upset the 8,000 or 9,000 home crowd. And no one's done that yet this season. Our home record's been unbelievable. But at any point a run can stop. So I'm not a massive believer in form, because at any moment, that form can change drastically, and we've got to make sure that we don't allow anything to change. We went 10 games without a win last year, didn't we? And we fell right off it, and we've become so many points behind Wrexham and Notts County due to that bad run. A lot of people would say we're better this year, and I tend to agree with them. So the league table doesn't lie. We're doing really well, but like I say, we're playing against a team who are very good defensively, got some threats all over, a good manager. So we're going to have a real tough game on our hands.
You've been very good at home and away this season, but in particular at home. 17 consecutive home wins in all competitions. Just why have you been able to put such an incredible run together?
I don't know. I think I think everyone deserves a bit of credit. I think it helps that I think the support and the amount of people we're getting through the gates is beyond anything. Even when the club was in League One. The manager said that himself, and when he managed here in League One, we're getting bigger crowds now, which is great. So that gives the players the extra boost. The whole town's behind them. Obviously, I think that the team has now, since the manager's come in, have really got his way of playing, and they're nailing it. They know how he works. They know how we all work as staff. They know what's expected of them. I think we're quite blessed that we've got a real good group of players that when the going gets tough, they stick together. Even the other night, yes, we're winning 1-0, but that could have easily have gone to a 2-1 home defeat if you haven't got the right players on the pitch during those times of difficulty. So there's lots of factors. I do think there's a real belief when we turn up at home this year. I remember, like I keep saying, in my press in my first season, we were conceding goals at the 94th minutes and drawing and dropping points in the last minute. So far, touch with this season, that hasn't been a feeling, is it, amongst the arena during games? It feels like we're going to see things out and add to our wins, and we've got to make sure that continues Saturday. So yeah, I think there's a real belief in this place being a fortress. It should be a fortress because of the size and the fan base and the noise they make. And this year, thus far, we're making that a fortress. So yeah, we've got to turn up with that mentality, whilst also realising that Southend are used to playing in front of big crowds. They're used to having an expectation on them. They've got a real feel-good factor about their place at the minute. So I think it'll be two giants of the National League going head to head.
The 17 consecutive home wins might already be a record, and it'll definitely be a record if you make it 18. Do you talk much about those sorts of records, behind the scenes, or is it sort of something that you reflect on more towards the end of the season?
No, I'll be perfectly honest with you, and the only time we're aware of it is when it's brought up, like by yourself and the other media guys, and then we might discuss it maybe briefly in the office, but it certainly isn't brought up by the manager or us as staff. We just focus on the games in hand, and like I said to you after the game the other night, I think the time for reflecting on stats and memories of the season is when, hopefully, at the end of it, when you've been successful. But a lot of games to go yet before that time.
And you are getting a lot of comparisons from the outside to last season with regards to Wrexham and Notts County and the points totals that they got. Do you think that this team would rival them, would go close if they'd have had this sort of team last season?
It's a good question, isn't it? I think someone mentioned that to me the other day. I think we'd all agree. I think we're a better. We were a good team last year, by the way. But I think we're a better team this year. But you don't know, do you, if they are in the league, what it would look like. I think it's unfair for people to say that we're doing so well because they're not in the league. I think that's very disrespectful, because I do think we're playing football this season that's beyond what either of those teams produced last year, whilst respecting that they finished first and second. We were third, by the way, last year, so we were the third best team. But this year's a different year, so who knows what would have happened. All I know at the minute, we're having a cracking season. We scored nearly 70 goals. We're exciting our home fans. We're finding different ways to win, like you touched upon earlier, Liam. And all we're thinking about, mate, is the next game, and that next game is a really tough fixture against Southend United.
Have you got sort of a target in mind where you're sort of looking now and going, we've got a chance here of getting 100 points, scoring 100 goals? That would be pretty amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I know that the first thing we do after a game is have a look at the other scores. And I think whilst that gap hopefully increases, it becomes more of a realistic thing to think about of what we're going to get to points-wise. But whilst there's so many points to play for, nearly 60 points potentially, it's absolutely ridiculous and would be so arrogant to anyone to think that, because, like I said to you the other day, Andy Woodman, Dean Brennan, Andy Wings, Solihull, Mickey Mellon at Oldham, believe me, in their dress room, they're all flying, those teams. They're flying, we're flying. But we've got to make sure we keep flying, and then we can start worrying about ifs and buts further down the line.
And just in terms of squad news for tomorrow then, is Ash Palmer going to be available? Ash
Palmer's knees come right down. Might be a game too soon, Liam. I always like to be honest with you. Might be a game too soon. Shex has had his stitches out. He's available for selection. Frex, no. Coldclough, no. Apart from that, good to go.
Cheers, Danny. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks, Liam. Top man.
Morning, Dave.
Hello, Ian. You all right?